Every single morning before the day even begins, your body makes a silent decision. It decides how much sugar to release into your blood. It decides how hard your insulin must work. It decides whether you will feel steady energy or a crash before noon. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Your blood sugar may be rising every morning and you don't even realize it. Not because you ate cake, not because you skipped the gym, but because of one simple habit that feels completely normal. You think you're being healthy. You think you're starting your day the right way. But this one routine could be quietly pushing your sugar higher day after day. And the most surprising part, it happens within the first 10 minutes of waking up, before breakfast, before work, before your brain is fully alert. Your body is extremely sensitive in the morning. Hormones rise as soon as you wake up. Cortisol increases. Your liver releases stored glucose to give you quick energy. This is natural. This is called the dawn effect. It happens to almost everyone. But here is the lesser known part. During this window, your insulin response can be weaker. That means sugar stays in your blood longer. Now add the wrong habit on top of that natural hormone surge, and the spike becomes bigger than you think. Over time, this repeated spike can slowly push the body toward insulin resistance, not in 1 week, not in 1 month, but quietly, gradually, silently. Many people only worry about sugar after eating sweets. They blame desserts. They blame rice. They blame fruit. But very few people look at what they do immediately after waking up. Research shows that glucose tolerance is often lower in the early morning compared to later in the day. That means your body may struggle more with the same food at 7 a.m. than at 2 p.m. Even stress alone, without food, can raise blood sugar, because cortisol tells the liver to release more glucose. This is not a theory. It is basic physiology. Yet most people never connect their morning routine to their rising sugar levels. In this video, you are going to learn exactly which common morning habit is raising blood sugar for millions of people. You will understand why it works against your hormones. You will learn how it affects your energy, your cravings, and even your weight. You will also discover why this spike feels harmless at first, but becomes dangerous over time. And most importantly, you will learn simple changes that can stabilize your sugar without extreme diets or complicated plans. Stay with me until the end because the final part of this video may completely change how you start your mornings. There is a small adjustment, backed by science, that can lower your spike dramatically. It does not require expensive supplements. It does not require skipping meals. It is simple, but most people overlook it. Energy crashes before noon, sudden hunger, brain fog during meetings, strong cravings for carbs by mid-morning. These are not random. They often trace back to what happens in the first few minutes after you wake up. Blood sugar spikes fast. Insulin rushes in. Sugar drops quickly. Then your brain demands more fuel. This cycle repeats daily. Over years, repeated spikes can strain the pancreas. Cells begin to respond less effectively to insulin. This is how prediabetes slowly develops in people who believe they are living normally. What makes this more concerning is that fasting blood sugar tests can look normal for a long time. You might think everything is fine, yet after meal spikes in the morning could still be high. Continuous glucose monitor studies have shown that many people without diagnosed diabetes experience sharp morning spikes depending on what they consume first. Liquid sugars, refined carbs, and even certain drinks labeled as healthy can create a rapid rise when taken on an empty stomach. Because there is no fiber buffer, no protein cushion, no fat to slow absorption, the sugar enters fast. The bloodstream reacts immediately. This is why watching this video until the end matters. The habit we are about to break down is common. It feels harmless. Some even call it healthy. But once you understand the timing, the hormones, and the metabolic response, You will never look at your morning routine the same way again. Knowledge changes behavior. Behavior changes biology. By the end of this video, you will clearly understand what your body is doing in those first 10 minutes of the day. You will know how to protect your insulin response. You will learn how to start your morning in a way that supports stable energy instead of creating a roller coaster. And you will see why small daily habits matter more than occasional cheat meals. This channel is about simple science explained clearly. No hype, no confusion. Just practical health knowledge you can use immediately. If you care about your energy, your long-term health, and protecting yourself from silent metabolic damage, then you are in the right place. Welcome to the channel. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss the next video where we break down the exact morning routine that keeps blood sugar stable all day. Let's begin. The human body does not wake up gently. It switches on. Hormones begin to rise even before your eyes open. Cortisol increases to help you feel alert. Adrenaline moves slightly upward. Growth hormone slowly falls from its night peak. All of this happens in a tight rhythm controlled by your internal clock. At the same time, your liver receives a signal. Release glucose. Send fuel into the bloodstream. Prepare the brain and muscles for activity. This early morning rise in blood sugar is natural. It is called the dawn effect. It happens in people with diabetes and in people without it. It is part of survival biology. Your body assumes you are about to move, think, and face the world, so it provides quick energy in advance. During this period, blood sugar is more sensitive, not because something is wrong, but because hormones are shifting. Cortisol reduces how strongly insulin works for a short time. This means your cells do not absorb glucose as easily as they might later in the afternoon. The pancreas must release more insulin to control the same amount of sugar. If insulin response is already slightly weak due to stress, poor sleep, belly fat, or genetics, the effect becomes stronger. Sugar rises higher. It stays elevated longer. Even if fasting glucose appears normal, the morning window can still be unstable. This is where the hidden problem begins. Most people focus on what they eat for lunch or dinner. Very few pay attention to the first thing that enters their body after waking. The system is already active. Hormones are high. The liver has released glucose. Insulin sensitivity is slightly lower. Now imagine adding the wrong habit on top of that. The body is prepared for gentle fuel. Instead, it receives a fast surge. One of the most common habits is drinking sugary tea or sweet coffee on an empty stomach. It feels small. It feels harmless. A cup of tea with 2 spoons of sugar, a flavored coffee with syrup, a sweetened milk drink. Some people add condensed milk. Some add sugar without thinking. The drink goes down quickly because there is no solid food to slow it. There is no fiber barrier, no protein layer, no fat to delay absorption. Liquid sugar enters the bloodstream almost immediately. Blood sugar rises fast, faster than many people expect. Cortisol is already elevated in the morning. That hormone tells the liver to keep releasing glucose. Now the drink adds even more sugar from the outside. The bloodstream receives 2 signals at once: internal glucose from the liver, external glucose from the drink. Insulin must respond quickly, but early morning insulin response can be slower or less efficient in some individuals. The pancreas works harder. It releases a larger amount to compensate. The spike becomes sharper, because leads to effect in a simple chain. Empty stomach means rapid absorption. Rapid absorption means fast spike. Fast spike means strong insulin release. Strong insulin release can lead to a quick drop afterward. When sugar drops quickly, the brain senses a threat. Hunger increases. Cravings appear. Energy feels unstable. Some people feel shaky. Some feel tired. Some feel irritable. They think they need more caffeine. They drink another sweet cup. The cycle continues. Fruit juice first thing in the morning works in a similar way. It is often labeled healthy. It contains vitamins. It sounds natural. but juice removes most of the fiber found in whole fruit. Fiber normally slows sugar entry into the blood. Without fiber, the natural fruit sugar moves quickly. On an empty stomach, with cortisol high, the spike can be significant. The body reacts as if it received a sugary drink, because in metabolic terms it did. Skipping breakfast can create another pattern. When someone wakes up, drinks coffee, and avoids solid food for several hours, cortisol remains relatively elevated. The liver may continue releasing glucose because the body interprets the situation as ongoing stress or fasting. Some people maintain stable levels during this time. Others experience gradual rises. Later, when they finally eat, the first large meal of the day hits a system that is already primed. The spike can be exaggerated. Hunger becomes stronger, portion sizes increase. The metabolic load grows. Checking the phone immediately after waking also plays a role. News alerts, work messages, social media comparisons. Emotional reactions appear within minutes. Stress hormones rise further. Cortisol climbs higher than its natural morning peak. The liver responds again. Release more glucose. Blood sugar increases without any food. Then a sweet drink is added on top of that stress response. The combined effect becomes stronger. The early morning window is like a sensitive switchboard. Small inputs create amplified outputs. A calm wake up with water may produce a mild rise that stabilizes. A stressed wake up with sugar may produce a sharp spike followed by a crash. The difference between these two mornings may be only 10 minutes, yet the metabolic outcome can diverge widely. Insulin resistance does not develop in one day, it builds from repeated patterns. If blood sugar spikes sharply every morning, insulin must work harder every morning. Cells gradually respond less efficiently. The pancreas compensates by producing more. Over time, fasting levels may creep upward. Energy fluctuations become normal. Cravings feel routine. People blame willpower, they rarely blame timing. Scientific observations show that glucose tolerance changes across the day. In many individuals, the body handles carbohydrates better later in the afternoon compared to early morning. This circadian rhythm influences insulin sensitivity. Eating the same sweet drink at 4 p.m. may cause a smaller spike than at 7 a.m. That does not mean afternoon sugar is harmless. It means morning biology is unique. Another factor is sleep quality. Poor sleep increases morning cortisol. It reduces insulin sensitivity further. If someone slept 5 hours and wakes to a stressful alarm, cortisol may be even higher. The liver may release more glucose than usual. Add sweet tea or juice on top of that, and the spike grows larger. The person may feel tired by 10 a.m. They may crave refined carbs for quick relief. The cycle repeats daily. Belly fat increases baseline insulin resistance. Family history of diabetes increases vulnerability. Chronic stress adds hormonal pressure. When these factors combine with a high sugar morning habit, the effect multiplies. Cause stacks on cause. Effect stacks on effect. The body does not argue, it responds. Sugar enters, insulin rises. Cells absorb, excess gets stored. Repeated exposure changes how receptors behave. The change is slow, it is silent. There is no alarm bell, no dramatic pain, just gradual adaptation. Even artificial sweetened drinks can influence this pattern in some people. The sweet taste alone may trigger insulin release. Appetite may increase later. Not everyone reacts the same way, but the early morning sensitivity makes reactions more noticeable. Water behaves differently. It hydrates without adding glucose. Protein behaves differently. It slows gastric emptying. Fiber behaves differently. It reduces absorption speed. Fat behaves differently. It stabilizes digestion. The combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fat in the first meal can soften the natural dawn rise instead of amplifying it. But when the first input is liquid sugar, the biology is simple. Fast in, fast up, strong insulin, fast down, hunger. repeat. Morning metabolism is not the enemy. It is protective. It prepares the body for action. The problem begins when modern habits collide with ancient physiology. The body expects movement after dawn. It expects gradual nourishment. Instead, it often receives concentrated sugar and psychological stress while sitting still. Over time, these repeated morning surges can influence weight regulation. Insulin is a storage hormone. Frequent high levels encourage fat storage, especially when combined with inactivity. Energy crashes reduce motivation to move. Reduced movement lowers glucose utilization. Lower utilization leaves more circulating sugar. The loop continues. Blood sugar control is about timing as much as quantity. The same 10 grams of sugar behaves differently depending on hormonal context. Morning context is unique. Cortisol high, liver active, insulin sensitivity variable. The stage is already set before the first sip. When someone changes only this one habit, measurable differences often appear. Smoother energy, fewer cravings, better focus, more stable mood. Because the initial spike is smaller, the subsequent crash is weaker. The pancreas works less aggressively. Cells receive glucose more steadily. The hidden problem is not obvious. Because the morning feels normal. Sweet tea feels comforting. Juice feels refreshing. Coffee feels necessary. The effect inside the bloodstream remains invisible unless measured. Yet invisibility does not mean absence. Glucose meters and continuous monitors reveal patterns that people do not feel directly: sharp peaks, quick valleys, rebound hunger. These graphs tell a story of timing. Many peaks occur within the first hour of waking when sugar is consumed alone. The early hours shape the rest of the day. Stable start leads to stable mid-morning. Stable mid-morning reduces afternoon overeating. Reduced overeating lowers evening spikes. Evening stability improves sleep. Better sleep improves next morning cortisol balance. The cycle can move in a positive direction just as easily as a negative one. It begins with recognizing that the dawn effect is real. Hormones rise naturally. The liver releases glucose by design. Blood sugar is already in motion. Adding a fast, absorbing sugary drink on an empty stomach amplifies what is already happening. Empty stomach allows speed. High cortisol reduces insulin efficiency. Combined signals create a larger spike. Larger spike demands stronger insulin. Stronger insulin leads to sharper drop. Sharper drop creates hunger. Hunger drives more intake. Repetition builds resistance. The chain is simple. The outcome is powerful, and it often starts before the day truly begins. The real issue is not the spike itself. The real issue is what follows it. Blood sugar rises fast. Insulin rises fast. For a short time, you may feel alert. You may feel a quick boost of energy. Your brain gets rapid fuel, but the body always tries to restore balance. When insulin pushes glucose out of the bloodstream quickly, levels can drop just as fast. That drop is the crash. Energy fades. Focus weakens. Mood shifts. The body moves from high fuel to low fuel in a short window. This sudden change is stressful for the system. When blood sugar falls rapidly, the brain reacts with urgency. It sends signals that feel like hunger, not gentle hunger, strong hunger. Cravings for quick carbohydrates appear because the brain wants fast glucose again. Sweet foods look more attractive. Refined snacks feel more satisfying. Self-control feels weaker not because of personality, but because of biology. The body is trying to correct a fast drop. This pattern becomes clear over hours. A morning spike leads to a late morning crash. The crash leads to a larger lunch. A larger lunch can create another spike. Another spike can create another dip in the afternoon. By evening, total calorie intake is often higher than planned. People blame lack of discipline. In reality, the cycle began with unstable glucose early in the day. Repeated daily spikes create repeated insulin surges. Insulin is a powerful hormone. It tells cells to absorb glucose. It tells fat cells to store energy. When it is elevated frequently, cells gradually respond less effectively. The body compensates by producing more insulin. This state is called insulin resistance. It develops slowly. It does not cause immediate pain. It does not produce dramatic symptoms at first. It builds quietly under daily patterns. Insulin resistance means the same amount of sugar now requires more insulin to manage. The pancreas works harder. Blood sugar remains higher for longer periods. Energy becomes less stable. Weight gain becomes easier. Losing weight becomes harder. Over time, fasting blood sugar can begin to rise. This is how many people move toward prediabetes without noticing a clear starting point. This is why the morning habit is worse than it seems. It is not one cup of sweet tea. It is not one glass of juice. It is repetition. Every day, week after week, year after year, the body adapts to patterns, not to single events. A daily spike trains the system to operate under stress. A daily crash trains the brain to crave quick fixes. The effect multiplies over time. The concern is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create awareness. The body is resilient. It can recover. Insulin sensitivity can improve, but ignoring repeated stress signals makes recovery harder. Stabilizing blood sugar early makes everything that follows easier. Stable energy supports better food choices. Better food choices support healthier weight. Healthier weight improves insulin response. The cycle can reverse. Certain people are more vulnerable to this pattern. If fasting blood sugar is already slightly elevated, morning spikes can be higher. Prediabetics often have reduced first-phase insulin response, meaning the early insulin release after sugar intake is weaker. That allows glucose to rise more sharply before control begins. If this sounds familiar, attention to morning habits becomes even more important. People with belly fat face a similar challenge. Visceral fat around the abdomen is metabolically active. It releases inflammatory signals that reduce insulin sensitivity. When insulin sensitivity is lower, spikes become stronger and last longer. A sugary drink on an empty stomach may cause a higher rise compared to someone with lower body fat. The difference is internal, not visible from the outside. Poor sleep also increases risk. Short sleep raises cortisol and reduces insulin efficiency the next day. After a restless night, the body is already under stress. Morning glucose may start higher. Adding fast, absorbing sugar can exaggerate the response. The crash may feel more intense. Cravings may feel stronger. Many people notice they want more carbohydrates after bad sleep. The biology supports that observation. High stress adds another layer. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated beyond the normal morning peak. The liver continues releasing glucose because the body perceives threat. Even without food, sugar can rise. Combine stress with sweet drinks, and the effect becomes amplified. Stress alone can disturb glucose balance. Sugar on top of stress compounds it. Family history of diabetes increases vulnerability as well. Genetics influence how efficiently insulin works and how the pancreas responds. If close relatives develop type 2 diabetes, paying attention to daily spikes becomes more important. It does not mean disease is guaranteed. It means awareness is powerful. When someone listens to these risk factors, self-recognition often occurs. Slight belly weight that feels stubborn, afternoon fatigue that feels normal, a parent with diabetes, nights of poor sleep due to work. Morning routine built around sweet drinks. These details connect. They form a pattern. The solution does not require extreme change. It requires strategic adjustment. Start with water. After waking, drink a glass of plain water. Hydration supports circulation and helps the body transition from sleep. Water does not spike insulin. It does not add glucose. It allows the natural dawn rise to settle without amplification. Next, add protein before carbohydrates. This can be eggs, yogurt, nuts, seeds, or any protein source that fits cultural and personal preference. Protein slows digestion. It stimulates a more balanced insulin release. When carbohydrates are eaten after protein, the glucose rise is often smaller. The order of food matters. Protein first, carbs later can reduce spikes significantly. Avoid liquid sugar in the morning. Replace sweet tea with unsweetened tea. Replace syrup coffee with plain coffee or coffee with minimal sugar. Replace fruit juice with whole fruit eaten alongside protein. Whole fruit contains fiber, which slows absorption. Fiber creates a physical barrier in the gut. Sugar enters the bloodstream more gradually. Eat fiber early in the day. Fiber can come from vegetables, whole grains, seeds, or legumes depending on dietary pattern. Fiber reduces the speed of glucose entry. It improves satiety. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria that influence metabolic health. Starting the day with fiber sets a slower rhythm for blood sugar. Movement after breakfast makes a measurable difference. A simple 5 to 10-minute walk activates muscles. Active muscles absorb glucose without needing as much insulin. Even light walking can reduce the post-meal spike. The body was designed to move after eating. Gentle movement aligns with that design. These adjustments are practical. They do not demand perfection. They require awareness and consistency. Replace one habit, add one supportive action. Repeat daily. Stable mornings lead to stable afternoons. Stable afternoons reduce evening overeating. Over time, insulin response improves. Energy steadies. The key is recognizing that the morning window is powerful. It can amplify stress, or it can support balance. A single swap, like removing sugar from the first drink, can lower the daily glucose load significantly over months. A short walk can lower post-meal peaks without medication. Protein and fiber can buffer natural hormone shifts. Small habits shape metabolic direction. Sugar spike leads to crash. Crash leads to craving. Craving leads to overeating. Overeating leads to repeated insulin surges. Repeated surges lead to resistance. Resistance leads to higher baseline sugar. But water leads to stability. Protein leads to slower absorption. Fiber leads to moderation. Walking leads to utilization. The chain can move toward stress or toward balance, depending on early choices. Your body is already working hard every morning. Hormones are rising. Your liver is releasing fuel. Your heart is pumping faster. Everything is preparing you for the day ahead. Don't make it fight your habits too. A small change in the first 10 minutes can protect your energy for the next 10 hours. One less spike means one less crash. One stable morning means fewer cravings, better focus, and stronger long-term health. This is not about fear. It is about control. When you understand what your body is doing, you can work with it instead of against it. And this is just the beginning. In the next video, I will show you the exact morning routine that keeps blood sugar stable all day. Step by step. Simple, practical, backed by science. A routine you can start tomorrow morning without extreme dieting or complicated rules. If this video opened your eyes, take 1 second right now. Like this video so more people can learn this. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. And share this with someone who drinks sweet tea or juice first thing in the morning. One small share could help someone prevent years of silent damage. Your mornings shape your future. Let's build them the right way.